This isn't a headline. It's a quiet warning of a global economic shift already underway. When a German factory slows to a crawl, its impact isn't just local. It sends ripples through global supply chains, which rely on German precision. And here's the truth. A silent plant in Germany is never just another silent plant. These facilities aren't simple production lines. They're nerve centers of global manufacturing, home to components you can't easily replace. If a German machine tool maker closes, an auto plant in Mexico may suddenly lack a crucial part. If a chemical plant cuts shifts, a pharma company in India may soon be short on vital inputs. This story is not about unemployment figures or a single national slowdown. It's about the breakdown of the world's most trusted industrial engine. For decades, companies everywhere relied on German manufacturing to deliver on time, at scale, and at tune-matched quality. That dependable foundation is starting to crumble, and the silence echoing through German industry isn't calm. It's the sound of a system under strain. What disappears first isn't the output, it's the confidence that the system will work tomorrow the way it worked yesterday. Let's examine what the latest indicators really show. While most people just glance at numbers, these figures reveal a deeper truth. The first is a PMI of 49.6. The issue isn't just being below the 50-point threshold. The danger is its refusal to climb back up. This signals a lasting weakness, a state where incoming orders stay low and production is subdued. It's an economic chronic disease, not a temporary fever. Then there are 28 consecutive months of job cuts. That streak says everything. Companies do not shrink their workforce for more than 2 years unless they've given up on a near-term recovery.
This isn't preparation for a rebound.
It's restructuring for a smaller future.
And the figures showing 10.4% supply bottlenecks exposes an even deeper vulnerability. Germany isn't just losing demand, it's struggling to produce even when demand exists. The industrial giant that once anchored Europe is now vulnerable to disruptions coming from far beyond its borders.
When you
combine these three signals and you get a dangerous alignment, weak global appetite for goods, collapsing internal confidence, and fractured supply chains. This isn't part of a normal economic cycle.
It's a systems design flaw. The world often associates Germany with its well-known automobile giants, but the true threat isn't found there. Instead, it lurks just below the surface. Germany's true industrial strength, however, rests on thousands of small, highly specialized companies, known collectively as the Mittelstand. These hidden champions rarely make an appearance in public advertising or direct consumer markets. Their work often remains invisible to the public, yet it is absolutely irreplaceable. Imagine one such company producing the majority of the world's supply of a highly specialized valve, crucial for semiconductor manufacturing. Another firm might create a unique polymer material utilized in critical medical equipment, found everywhere from Japan to Brazil, and this is precisely where the danger becomes truly systemic. When even one of these niche suppliers falters, entire global industries can quietly seize up. Aviation, electronics, medical technology, you name it. Losing the automotive sector would be devastating, but the collapse of the Mittelstand would disrupt the global industrial system itself. Germany's dilemma stems from two crushing forces squeezing it simultaneously. It isn't a single crisis, it's two separate catastrophes merging into one. On one side is collapsing demand. Germany's biggest customers, especially in the US and Asia, are tightening spending. Globally, high inflation and elevated interest rates are resulting in fewer orders for German-made goods. With purchase orders drying up, factories are starved of work, but the difficulties don't stop there. Furthermore, the supply side is also being severely constrained. Strategic restrictions on crucial materials, especially rare earths, are making it increasingly difficult for Germany to produce the essential technologies that sustain its economy. Global powers controlling these resources are deliberately creating choke points, so Germany finds itself trapped in a squeeze. Demand is disappearing in front of it while the materials it needs are being cut off behind it. They cannot sell what they produce, and increasingly, they cannot produce what they could otherwise sell. That's not a downturn. That's an economic vice tightening from both ends, and Germany's greatest vulnerability may be self-inflicted. The cost of powering a factory has spiraled upward due to long-term policy decisions, making German industry expensive to operate. When you add to that heavy regulation, slow decision-making processes, and high labor costs, companies inevitably start moving their production overseas. Other nations now present more attractive options, offering cheaper, stable, and significantly more business-friendly environments. Germany has, perhaps unintentionally, priced itself completely out of key markets it once dominated, with little to no competition. From an external perspective, the nation finds itself in an almost impossible geopolitical position. Its loyal allies push it to restructure supply chains away from strategic rivals. Yet its largest trading partner, also a key raw material source, is on the other side of that political divide. If Germany chooses to align with the West, it sacrifices huge markets and essential imports. If it maintains its previous trade balance, it risks angering allies it depends on for security and investment. This state of paralysis makes any decisive action nearly impossible to take. There are no ideal choices left, only different forms of damage. Germany's economic struggle doesn't recognize borders. It radiates outward, touching every region, relying on German machinery, chemicals, tools, or components. The cracks at Europe's industrial core are slowly spreading through the global system. Europe's economic stability has always rested heavily on one cornerstone, and when that pillar weakens, the tremor spreads far beyond its borders. The damage doesn't just arrive slowly, it cascades throughout the entire continent. Here's how this chain reaction unfolds. Let's begin with the production networks. The factories located in Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, and the Czech Republic do not operate as independent industrial hubs. Instead, they are direct extensions of German manufacturing, plugged directly into the supply lines of major German automotive and engineering giants. They build components, manage specialized assembly tasks, and depend entirely on German orders to keep their production lines running. So when a German plant cuts its output or completely shuts down, the shockwave immediately hits its Central European partners. The fall is sudden, and the disruption spreads like a virus through the region. Now let's turn to the financial sector. German banks hold the largest exposure to businesses across Central and Eastern Europe. As Germany's industrial profits shrink and its economy contracts, these banks grow more cautious, cutting the capital they provide to companies in the rest of the EU. This squeeze creates a financial drought, leaving smaller firms without the loans they need to stay afloat. Germany isn't just another member of the European Union, it's the engine that pulls the entire economic train. It imports more goods from EU countries than anyone else, funds major initiatives, and supports growth across the entire region. When that economic engine misfires, the entire machine inevitably slows down. What looks like a German recession soon becomes a blueprint for a broader European downturn. All of this clearly leads to one unmistakable conclusion. The global balance of power has now shifted permanently. For many decades, the West was always viewed as a two-pillar system, with America and Europe standing firmly side by side as equals. That world is gone. As one analyst quite bluntly observed, the new power map is truly unmistakable. We've moved from a single superpower world into a genuinely multipolar one. The United States now clearly dominates the Western bloc. Europe has slipped into a secondary role, and China is rising as the third great center of influence, skillfully maneuvering between Washington and Brussels to advance its own strategic interests. This is not a temporary phase. It is a profound structural rewiring of the global order. The long-held ideals of equal partnership and fair competition have now been replaced by strategic contest, national self-interest, and bitter economic rivalry. Every single country now has to navigate a more fragmented and unpredictable world. Germany's industrial decline, meanwhile, threatens much more than supply chains or export statistics. It undermines the political and economic foundations of the European Union itself. For decades, Berlin has been the primary financial supporter of EU development programs, stability funds, and rescue packages. A weaker Germany means fewer resources for struggling member states, deepening the divide between Northern Europe and the financially fragile South. The EU's political unity depends on shared prosperity, and that shared prosperity is crumbling. Germany's troubles also accelerate the breakdown of the old global trade model. The world is moving away from open, interconnected markets toward competing economic blocs. Nations spooked by their dependence on foreign supplies are racing to build self-contained supply systems, even if they're more expensive and less efficient. This fragmentation of global trade raises costs, slows innovation, and increases geopolitical risks. Hyperglobalization, the era that Germany embodied and profited from more than almost any other country, has officially reached its end. So, what comes next for them? Germany now finds itself at a truly decisive turning point, with two very different possible futures ahead. The first path is a path of bold reinvention. This requires tearing down suffocating bureaucracy, pushing massive investment into frontier technologies like quantum computing and artificial intelligence, and securing long-term resilient energy partnerships, even if they come with political consequences. Germany would need to shift from competing on price to leading through innovations so advanced that no rival can easily copy them. The alternative path involves a slow, controlled decline. Should the present political impasse continue unabated, Germany would then remain a producer of specialized, high-quality goods, but would forfeit its standing as a major global industrial power. Its national economy would gradually contract, and its influence in global affairs would diminish alongside it. The discussion is no longer focused on diagnosing the root causes of failure. That particular aspect has already become quite evident. The real question is whether Germany, and Europe more broadly, has the decisiveness and unity to take the painful actions needed for renewal. Because the world isn't pausing. While Europe argues its next step, the new global order is already taking shape without it.